Hi everyone. Today's session we are going to discuss about the Blazor virtualization component. This is a new feature that has brought from .NET 5 onward. This virtualization component is a performance booster for rendering the bulk amount of table content. Or suppose we have an API that brings bulk of data. If we want to render it in normal way, we need to render all the content in the HTML itself, which might be a user, which might be performance issue, and also there might not be user friendly where on scrolling user may feel some lagging because of the huge amount of the HTML rendered by the records. So if you use Blazor component in that situation, it will it will render all the records by parts, which means within the visible area, it will display only the required content. It will holds all the records in the memory and display all the part of the content which is necessary for the within the visible region. So it is a performance booster and user also feel it more user friendly without any lagginess in the web page. So let's get dive into by creating a sample application. So guys, before starting, if you are using Visual Studio 2019, make sure to have the latest update to work with the .NET 5. And here I am going to use the .NET CLI command with the Visual Studio Code Editor. If you are using Visual Studio Code Editor, make sure to have the .NET 5 SDK installed in your system. So let me start with creating a project where Microsoft has provided Blazor with two types of templates like server-side template and Blazor WebAssembly template. Whereas WebAssembly template purely runs on the browser user browser itself. So it's like a JavaScript. So here in this for the demo purpose, I'm going to use the Blazor WebAssembly template. So let me create a sample application. .NET new. The Blazor WebAssembly template name will be Blazor Wasm and my project name sample BW virtualize. So let me create the project. So I have successfully created my project. Let me open it. It is place and the project location. Code dot is a command to open VS Code. So this is the project we are going to get after creating with our command. So if you go to the project file that with the extension .cproj, you can observe it is created with .NET 5 version 5. So that's it, the creation of the project, and let me run how our application will look. So let me open my command terminal and let me run .NET watch run. It will be run our application in watch mode. We can changes our applications. It will automatically reflected in our application. So let it take some time. So by default, our Blazor WebAssembly project will comes with a simple template with a project like this. So let's go to our index.pages. Here every component is in a page. So in index.page, let's get rid of this existing code and let's implement our code. Let's create some dummy div for now and get started with the code block. So in this sample, before writing any code, I want to mention that virtualize Blazor component. There are two types of technique to implement it. One is use the items properties. If you use items properties, we need to load all the data with single API call and assign it to a variable, and that variable should be passed as the input parameter for the items property. That is the one way. And other way is to use item provider delegator. Delegator is itself, it's saying it is like a callback method. In this method, we are do multiple API calls by scrolling the page. This is almost works like a pagination. But guys, this item provider delegate has some issues for now in the initial release. So I will show you those drawbacks also in the upcoming sessions. But my recommendation is please avoid using the item provider delegator. Instead of that, if you want the pagination style, please go for the pagination. Or if you want the bulk display the bulk data, then directly go for the items property, where it will load the data from the in-memory variable after calling the data from the API. So let's begin to start. So for now, I am going to create some fake data that is going to be rendered in the virtualized component. So to load the fake data initially, I am going to use the one of the Blazor's lifecycle like on initialize async. So let me create the method. The override method. Let's get some intelligence online async. So for now, get rid of this code. Some comments. Let me format it indentation. So it should be a async task. For now, to get rid of this yellow squiggle, let me write task dot for it is an optional. It will avoid the errors because for now I don't have any asynchronous calls in this method. So I am using task from result which get executed immediately. So let me create some fake data. Before creating fake data, let me create a variable which stores our fake data. I'm creating a collection of string. I will call it as to do's, and I will initialize it initially. That's it. And now I am going to create a for loop to dump some fake data. So I'm going to have like 200 records of fake data. I'm going to dump it into to do's variable like string interpolation my to do's item, and I'm going to this enumerator value as a dynamic to make the difference of the collection. So that's it. We have our implemented C# code to assign some fake data. Now let's go to design our UA. Let me take a bootstrap table for better display. So search for bootstrap table and go here. This I'm going to choose this template. Let me copy this HTML and paste it over here. And let me get rid of, since it is a string, let's assume we have only single column and make it as my to-dos. And in tr, let's get rid of all the trs. Now we are going to render our pre-built virtualized blazor component. So start typing, you can see the intelligence virtualized component. So if you want its full name, virtualized component, let's take. So this is the default pre-built virtualized component, and I have mentioned right two type of techniques to use it. Let's see those things. See here, items. This is the one technique where we provide all our data to a variable, and that variable will be passed as input to this items property. And another technique you can observe here, item provider. It is a callback. You can see here get. get or set function provided items to be the list. It is a callback method. So this is the another technique. It's work just like a pagination. For the production code, I suggest to avoid this using items provider technique. Only use items. So let me use items property and assign it my to-dos. So guys, now I have assigned all of my items to the virtualized component. So, so it is a collection. It will automatically get looped inside of it. So let me take this table row inside of the virtual component. Okay. And I have only one TD, right? Yeah, that's it. And now I have to bind the records in the to-do collection list. Virtualized component is automatically renders enumerates itself to renders the subcomponent. So to access the data inside of the virtual component, we need to create a variable name for the context. The context. So context will be here. See, specify the parameter name for all child content expressions. It is like a context or like a parameter that is specifically stores the memory of that rendered HTML. So let's use it, and we need to assign some value. This value name will be used for to access the content of our to-dos. So let me name it as to-dos. To-do like single, because on enumeration we have to get a single record, like so I am making it as to-do. So on iteration, this to-do collection values will be copied to this context variable name to do. So to access the content in it, I need to directly write like to do. So if you are not interested to create a variable name for the context, in that scenario, you have to use context directly. Something like this. Since it is a simple string collection, we have no properties to access from this context. If the to-dos is a collection of objects, something like it has name and everything, at the time to access, we need to call like context.name. So instead of using a context directly, it is always good to have a specific name to the context. So let me undo it. I will use to do as the context name, and for now I am rendering the to dos. So it is already in the watch mode. Our application is building. Let me refresh my page. See here, all my to-dos are rendered. Now you can check the magic of the virtualization component, how it's rendered. So let me refresh it again and let make this side by side. So better understanding. Let me one more time refresh it again. Let's see how it is rendered the items. So inspect the developer elements. If you see the top list, here is the div inside our tiers will be started. See this div is we haven't given. It is automatically rendered. So you can see our first record is my to-dos dot list, and if you go down 21, only 21 records are rendered. But in the code, I have created 200 fake records. So from this you can understand. See, this is the end of the our tiers. Virtualized component only rendered within the range area. How much content has to be rendered? Only those many items will only it allowed to render. It will not render all the records at the same time. See, only 21 records has been rendered. So let me scroll it, scrolling, scroll. See the magic here. Now the top element is item 4. Item 0, 1, 2, 3 are not here. They are get rid from the HTML. And if you go down, previously item 21 is the last one. Now 24. 25 is the last record. Like four more records were added and the topmost records were removed. See, only it is like based on my screen resolution, it is loading 21. If some other, it loads maybe some little or more based on the UI, but it will not render all the records. Like in my example, I have 200 records. It is not rendering all the records. So it is more fluent way. If you scroll down, you will get all the 200 records. See, if you after getting 200 record also, top one is the 178th record and last one is our 199 record. Here also you can see all the previous records has been vanished just like a dynamic rendering. So if you scroll up, again they will come. See here the magic 132. If you scroll up, 0. So that is the most performance way of rendering the bulk amount of data. So guys, I have think it's given some useful introduction about the virtualization content, Blazor component content. So for now, I am stopping this session. I'm going to create another video on how to make it more dynamically by consuming it from a web API. So I have given some useful introduction on it. So if you have any queries or any suggestions, I am here. I am I love to hear your advices on it. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to it. I am For now I am signing off. Thank you.